Hey, today we've got news that the Arrowhead team may have accidentally nerfed a booster. We'll talk about the black hole, Joel answers a question about the DSS, and there's so much more I'll be discussing. If you would like to support the channel, please hit the like button below at any point, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going to start off with news about the Vitality Enhancement Booster nerf that I'm sure is going to be quite disappointing for a majority of you out there. However, before we get into it, I just want to say I'm here to inform you about it, and I'm not trying to spread negativity about the nerf. Nonetheless, the information I'm about to share with you comes from a player who data mines Helldivers 2. With that said, a well-known leaker named Exelius, also known as John Spreadsheet, shared new information about the Vitality Enhancement Booster on the official Helldivers 2 Discord by posting this message in the channel where he wrote, "Ransom testing, 150 AR with fortified and vitality is reducing explosion damage to 16.8%. This notably denies the ability to survive an 800 damage AoE. So Exelius, as you can see, had done some testing with the Vitality booster, and he had posted another message stating, "It's possible it changed at some point. Numbers from 6 months ago suggest 0.8 molt. Okay, well after this was posted, he replied to a player that talked about grabbing numbers from the data, and Exelius replied to that member by stating, "Looks like Vitality is actually 0.9 damage, not 0.8 damage like the wiki suggests." Alright, the question I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, did the Arrowhead team intentionally nerf the Vitality Enhancement Booster? I don't have a definitive answer on that, and I can't tell you if they did or if they didn't. But the data and what Exelius had tested suggests that it was changed, nearly cutting the damage reduction in half. So essentially, the damage reduction is not as great as it once was when it was first released at launch. It's a bit surprising to see that the Arrowhead team didn't mention anything about the nerf in the last few months. Perhaps they didn't want to receive any negative feedback, considering in the past, fans of Helldivers 2 were quite upset about the nerfing of weapons and all of the other changes at the time. Also, I'd like to bring up that this wouldn't be Arrowhead's first time making a mistake and not announcing what they had nerfed. For instance, if you check out this screenshot from about 3 months ago, on September 24th, 2024, the community manager at the time, Twinbeard, had created a post that entailed how the team still nerfed the HMG and the anti-tank mine as well, but for whatever reason it was not mentioned in the patch notes. Also, it's fair to say that there's not been an official word from the Arrowhead team about this nerf just yet, but Exelius posted more information about this. The message can be seen here, and he wrote, "Vitality booster is currently 0.9 damage tested with HP monitor team. Back in May, testing was done with explosions in particular that showed vitality was a 0.8 multiplier. Current numbers HP monitor team, 10,000 base health, 10,000 damage dealt, 150 AR, 6,250 health remaining, 37.5 damage taken, 150 AR with vitality, 6,625 health remaining, 33.75% damage taken, 10% difference. Previous numbers from Zeddy here in the image below." We can tell that Zeddy had also done his own testing. However, this was back in May, and the new information from Exelius suggests that possibly Arrowhead had changed the Vitality Enhancement Booster at some point during the last few patches. Anyways, I think this is a great discussion to have below. Now, again, as I've mentioned at the start, I'm not trying to spread any negativity about Helldivers 2. Instead, I'm just trying to inform you about the possible nerf and to see what you all think about it. So let me know what you think about this so far. Have you noticed any differences or not? Post a comment below to let me know your overall thoughts about this. On a lighter note, the recent dispatch talks about the black holes. Surprising, right? It's been quite a while since we've heard anything about the Meridia event. If you check out the dispatch in game, it says, "Super Earth High Command would like to inform all Helldivers that the investigation into reported anomalies surrounding the singularity created by the destruction of the super colony have concluded. It has been determined definitively that the singularity is an ordinary black hole. Further observations of perceived anomalies should be disregarded as the science is conclusive." Obviously, Super Earth High Command is correct. There's nothing to worry about, and it should all be disregarded, right? No, absolutely not. I think it's a good sign, or for Super Earth, it's a bad sign that the Illuminate are indeed here, and soon enough, they're going to make their presence well known at some point. We also know that the Arrowhead developers had updated the Steam DB files recently, and it showed that there was some sort of Illuminate gameplay branch that was added to Helldivers 2. Now sure, at this point, it's kind of repetitive. There's been talk about the Illuminate in the past, that they're arriving soon, whether that's through leaks. There was also a content creator out there, I won't mention his YouTube name, but he showed a fan-made General Brash video and claimed it was a real leak, even though it was fake. Overall, there's also been a lot of speculation that the Illuminate are going to arrive in December to bring back the player base, but really, what's the truth? So the truth is, no one knows for sure what's going to happen except for the Arrowhead developers themselves, but I'm going to say that the recent dispatch message and the recent SteamDB Illuminate branch suggests that the Arrowhead QA team are either testing the Illuminate out finally, or that the Arrowhead developers are getting ready to reveal it in the near future, whenever that is. Next up, we've got news from the Arrowhead team, specifically from Joel himself, who relayed information to the community manager Baskinator about why we were unable to send the Democracy Space Station to Chua. The reason can be seen on the official Helldivers 2 Discord, and Baskinator posted this in the announcements and said, "Howdy divers, I posted this message in DSS regarding players voting for Chuha, and I was asked to also share it here for posterity. Many of you have been asking why you were unable to vote for Chua. I spoke with the GM Joel and he confirmed this was a managed democracy algorithm snafu. Probably we shouldn't trust algorithms. Sounds a little too ... Until the algorithm is officially repatriated, Joel will be doing some manual oversight of its functions." Well, would you look at that? It's a bug and it was not intentional at all. This might not be a huge shocker or surprise for most of you, but that's the reason as to why we were unable to send the DSS to Chua. It does suck that this is what happened, and it seems that we're going to have a rough time completing the latest major order since we only have 24 hours to complete it, and it's going to take quite a lot of Helldivers to get the job done unless Joel decides to adjust the planet's health. Then maybe, just maybe, it'll be completed before then, but that solely depends on if Joel chooses to do so, or if we muster up enough players to liberate the planet. Also, if you're wondering what Joel will be doing with the DSS, then we do have an answer on that. There's a player that wanted to know if Joel is going to end up directing the DSS on his own, and Baskinator denied it, and replied back to the player with this: "That is incorrect. What he means is that he will be manually checking over DSS settings to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. He won't drive the DSS around or anything." With that said, I'm sure he's going to monitor the situation to see if certain planets are popping up in the voting system, and that right there is most likely what he's doing, as well as checking out other stuff we don't know about. So that's what you can expect Joel to do when it comes down to the Democracy Space Station. Hope this clears up any sort of confusion about the voting, and it gives you some insight as to what's going on behind the scenes at Arrowhead Game Studios. On a different note, if you haven't checked out the reviews on Steam in a while, well, things have actually gotten way better for Arrowhead. As you can tell from the screenshot I took, you can see the reviews for Helldivers 2 are now sitting at overwhelmingly positive. Now, I will say it's been a roller coaster for Arrowhead. In the past, the reviews have fluctuated from being positive to negative, to mostly negative, back to positive, to now overwhelmingly positive. So the only reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is to show you that the game is still thriving. And sure, there's been a lot of negativity in the last few months, yet thus far, it doesn't seem like the Arrowhead team have killed their game after all. They're constantly trying to improve from what I could tell, and it also seems like we're getting more tactical actions for the DSS. Not to mention there's hints about the Illuminate and whatever else they have planned. If you haven't seen my previous Helldivers 2 video, then I highly recommend you check it out after you're done with this video. Okay, how about we talk about the next Warbond? I speculated that the next Warbond trailer will be released this week, and I still feel the same about that prediction. Considering we already know that the Arrowhead CCO Mr. Pillestead mentioned they changed their Warbond release dates from every 4 weeks to every 6 weeks. Now, the community manager was asked about the Warbond by a player on the official Helldivers 2 Discord, and her response was, "If you look at the cadence of released Warbonds, it is closer to a 6-week schedule, but it's not a concrete window anymore." Okay, even though Baskinator mentions it's not a concrete window anymore, I believe she's trying not to reveal too much just yet, and that is understandable. However, I still believe and am speculating that there's going to be a Warbond trailer this week. So if you haven't noticed just yet, we haven't had an update in over 3 weeks, and a lot of you were expecting one today, as was I, but it turns out there's no update, and there's most likely a good reason for it. I suspect they're prepping to release the Warbond, prepping to also release content eventually, and I think there's a lot that Arrowhead developers are doing right now. I don't think they're doing nothing at all because usually we receive a hotfix by now, and there hasn't been anything yet. I will let you know as soon as possible once there's some news about the Warbond, whether it's good or bad. Moving along, it seems that a few members of the community over on the Helldivers 2 Discord are a bit disappointed with the news and the communication as of late. One member brought it up, and Baskinator essentially responded that the team tries to be as transparent as possible, but she also understands that we're all hungry for the next big thing. Then a different member told Baskinator that it's not about being hungry. The fact is, there's been no communication at all as of late, besides the interview they did about a week ago. The player here wanted to know where's Pillestead, Shams, or some of the other team members are, and what they're doing. He also asked questions about the Democracy Space Station, a hotfix to resolve the crashing issues, and everything you can see here in this message. Baskinator replied back with this: Usually if they have gone quiet, it means they're hard at work, since those are our top dogs. Whenever I'm in the office, things have been pretty serious and focused on getting stuff done. But I know from the outside it looks like nothing is happening. That's why I wanted to at least get that info about the DSS pushed out, something other than awards season posts. My thoughts are, I think the lack of communication is causing problems for Arrowhead, and a majority of the players out here are rightfully upset. Not only that, the fact is, there hasn't been any content in quite a while, and when you add no communication on top of that, it just feels like there's nothing being done. Even though the Arrowhead developers are cooking, they just can't reveal what's coming just yet. So this right here makes me believe that a roadmap wouldn't be a bad idea after all, since so many players are worried about content, the future of Helldivers 2, and just a bunch of things, right? However, at the same time, I know a majority of you out there just don't want a roadmap because it could potentially ruin the excitement. So I don't really know what would be helpful at this point besides the community managers being more transparent and talking about what will come, for instance, a patch date. Lastly, for today's video, we've got a recommended loadout to try. If you haven't already, post a comment below about your loadout. I'll review it and tell you what I think about it. But what if you've already posted a comment in a previous video and I didn't feature it? Well, repost it again in the comments below. Who knows, maybe I'll select it for the next video. What we have today is a loadout by a player named Wretched, who recommended I try this one out. The primary we have is the Scorcher that can be used as an automatic weapon. Great for just about every bot type besides a Hulk. Speaking of Hulks, if you didn't know, you can actually use the Senator to take out a Hulk if you aim directly at the head. And it takes about 4 shots to down a Rocket Strider. As for grenades, we have thermites for blowing up Hulks, turrets, fabricators, and so much more. We're also using a heavy armor type with the grenade passive. Next, for stratagems, we're using the 500 kg bomb for Hulks, fabricators, blowing up factory striders, although it takes about 2 500 kg bombs. The second stratagem is the Eagle airstrike for enemies in groups, fabricators, Hulks, basically everything. The third stratagem is the guard dog that has incredible armor penetration. It can delete rocket striders, shield devastators, essentially any armor type enemy. Lastly, we have the railgun stratagem for gunships, Hulks, rocket striders. It's another stratagem that's loved by many Helldivers. I would like to have a different opinion on these recommended loadouts, but you guys continue to suggest some amazing loadouts. This one is no different and it's powerful, so thank you to Wretched, you got a 5-star loadout. With all the information being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. If you guys would like to be featured at the end of the video, all you have to do is comment down below, and if you get enough upvotes, you might just be selected for the next video. The first top comment is by YTYT2245. I've seen your comments quite a lot, but you said, "The war map has me going crazy. I just feel like we don't have enough players anymore because the gameplay is just super stale. It's the same 5 to 7 biomes, same 3 to 5 missions over and over, and same issues with the community. It just needs to freshen up because it becomes mind-numbing." No kidding, at this point it is quite boring, right? Because there hasn't been any content for just a long time, and now we're all waiting for the Illuminate and some of those other mission types. The second comment is by Tabby3456. It would also be neat if we can get a DSS support that provides an extra stratagem, specifically weapon backpack drop pods. This would free up extra slots for more stratagems for your use, but also be able to provide a weapon backpack item stratagems on occasion. This right here, I would love to see. Not to mention, I would also like to see some sort of way where we get a special stratagem that can be used from the DSS instead of the Super Destroyer. Last but not least, we have the Camaro 5. The DSS control should be across from our armory. It's literally perfect. Yes, how come it's not? I have no clue, and I have no idea why it's not, but yeah, you're totally right on that. Anyways, those are the top 3 comments. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a like. See you guys in the next one.